there's a thing that I did recently, and it's called Cards on the Table, and I got a group of people to tell the truth. I said, and they were fighters, and the fighters hide things. So let's just use fighters as an example, men or even women, of course, because we are fighters. And I just say, tell the truth. What is it? And they go, what if I get beat? And everyone will laugh at me and be like, tell the truth then. It won't change unless you say it, because it just stays here. You know, it just stays in the area that it dwells in. And when they put it out, put it on the cards on the table, and they tell the truth, you can reframe it then. Because it's weird, because people come in and they go, oh, are you going to think I'm weird? And there's no one weirder than me. Yeah. You know, and they're going to say something. I go, I think that, because they keep it in and they think, oh, I won't tell anyone about that. And when you do reveal it, it's always a lot less serious than you
make it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that I think as well is that people need to realize, as harsh as this sounds, nobody cares. They don't. Do you know what I mean? About your issues and all that stuff. They're so busy dealing with their own life that you can literally say something outrageous the one day about yourself. Yeah. And then the next day they'll call you up and forgotten all about it, because they haven't got time. They can't consume it.
You know
properly.
What else as well? It's mind reading. So people say they worry about what other people think. How can you think what other people think? Oh, and they're going to think, really? How do you know? Someone said it to me once. He went, no, I know what you're thinking. I went, what? And he said something. I said, custard. Yeah. You don't know what anyone's thinking unless they tell you. And even if they tell you, they don't want to be telling you the truth anyway. Yeah. But it's a big thing that, I'm worried about what other people think. How can you think about the language? Yeah. I'm worried about what other people think. It does not make sense. But when you say it to someone, they go, oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. And it's a lot of people will... You could be the nicest, like Christianity, for instance. You could be the greatest person. Jesus water into wine, healed the sick, raised the dead, still killed him. Yeah, exactly. Still killed him. Yeah. So you could be the nicest person. Well, someone's going to hate you. That's just the way that the psyche is, I'm afraid.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Jibber with Jabber. We've been off for a while doing a lot with Soul DXB, but we're back again. Today I have Vinny Shoreman with me, hypnotist, mind coach, fight commentator, recurring guest on Rogan. Yeah. And first-time guest on Jibber with Jabber, which is going to be a recurring guest on here too. So it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me. And you can tell by the grin on my face that Christmas has come early with some of the things you've shown me. I was amazed.
Yeah. Shout out to VMC Studios. Always just like surprising people when they come in. Let's talk about why you're here first, because is this the first time here? No,
Dubai. No, I've been here before. I've done GFC. It was a show. With Badr Hari fought on the show a couple of times.
Legend.
Without doubts. I've also been not far along the road. Is it Abu Dhabi? Lots of times. And one of my clients flew me over to do some work with him. To do a breakthrough session with him. So I've been a few times. Love the place.
It's always nice when you say someone flew me over to do a breakthrough session with them, right?
I know, yeah, but it's, look, there's not one bit of me doesn't realise and understand that I lead a blessed life. I'm a very lucky human being.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about hypnosis in general. What is hypnosis, and what is the science behind hypnosis?
It's there's so many different takes on hypnosis that a lot of ideas, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of sort of stuff that other people add and take away and put together. My belief is it's a self-induced state. All I do is guide you into a better place, really, a place in your mind where you can truly get to your unconscious mind and start to change the things you want to change. The unconscious mind protects you. That's what people don't understand. Anxiety, etc., is your unconscious mind's defense system, and we sort of like bring the at ease and say, look, doesn't need defending as much, and to get the client in a better frame of mind, a better place to be.
So what is the chemical behind defending you by putting you in a worse state, in a sense.
It's,
I mean, you know, my
not.
ignorance kind of thing.
No,
but
it's not ignorant at all.
like you think that, you know, okay, I'm going to make you anxious now to defend you from thinking about what's making you anxious.
Okay. Well, think about anxiety is stopping danger. Anxiety is worry. You know, am I going to die? This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. All it is giving you a series of choices that feel very negative. And, you know, it isn't easy having anxiety, especially at a very disturbing level. It can be very upsetting, but also it's protecting you. You know, if you're in a plane and you're the first time you're going to jump out of it, you know, you're going to be anxious or worry, whatever you call it, nerves. And that's your unconscious mind going, hang on a minute, if it doesn't open, we're dead. So it's just, it has various corridors which it goes down, you know.
Is there something very wrong with me that my first time skydiving, I wasn't anxious at all? I couldn't wait to jump out and do it.
It depends, you see. A lot of people see some people that would be the worst nightmare, or like, I don't know, Brendan Loughnane, who you've had on here, his worst nightmare isn't winning. You know, he's going in the cage and this guy's a killer. I can't wait. You know, and he's a great guy.
He's a lovely guy.
And he is. All Liam and people like Liam Harrison who I work with and various. So their idea of fun is someone else's idea of hell. So it's horses for courses, really.
I was talking to Brendan about that and I was like, what makes you want to get punched in the face? Like, not as obviously he's not going in there wanting to get punched in the face, but he's chasing something that you probably 1% of the population want to actually run towards.
Yeah.
And in a sense, he is kind of like the gladiator, right? Of the olden times.
Yeah, of course. But he's a smiling gladiator.
Yeah,
so
right.
He's happy. I just think it's what you're meant to have, your life, maybe your life purpose, God, whoever you believe in, and it's just adding to that and finding something that makes you get up in the morning. It might be a bit of a cliche for people, but you know, your passion, your love, your why, exactly. Simon Sinek's book, Find Your Why, brilliant. And and that's the idea behind it, is finding what you do. I love doing this, you know. And people get confused. They think, oh, it's just about fighters and stuff like that and stuff. But you know, it's about everyone. You know, I've seen some. You know, I say this, I've never said this to anybody, so this
nice.
is... So one of the times a guy came to me and he got the train down, so he didn't drive, and he was coming in my office, normal young man, about, I'd say 27, 26, something like that. Walks in, nice lad, I said, you okay? He said, yeah, I'm fine. He looked like he had a little bit of the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he didn't look any different than any other client. And then he said, I don't feel a man. I said, okay, well, why is that? And he said, because my dad raped me, my mum and my sister.
Wow.
And I was like, you're more of a man than I've known anybody to be a man. To walk in, to be able to drop that issue right at my feet and say, help me with it, I mean, is incredible. So it takes
incredible strength to do that, yeah.
He didn't realise. And that's what we do, is I direct them to say, look what you're doing, because I don't think you can get a resource unless you felt it. And what he went through is horrific. Another client was telling me about he got he was in an international school, and he was with, all his American friends were growing long hair, and he was Arabic, Egyptian, growing long hair, and they got pulled over by the police, and the police were saying, "Oh, what you doing?" And he said he was speaking broken English, the policeman, and he said, he spoke to him in Arabic, and the policeman just said, "Oh, get out of the car," boom, knocked him spark out.
Wow.
And then this went on for a long time, and then he got again, was tortured by some, I mean, he's crooked people everywhere, isn't there? And they pulled his fingernails out.
Wow.
You know, it's just stories I hear of human adversity, that it's not just about going in the ring and fighting someone and winning, and it's great, and that's good for me, of course, but the adversity people suffer and go through, not everyone wears capes, you know? Not all heroes wear capes. And that story about that young man, and another lady who'd never walked a daughter to school, she'd never gone anywhere with a daughter, she had to be brought to my house, because I was working from home then, and she brought to my house, and she was terrified of everything. She was just had anxiety at a level that was just incredible. And we got over it. And now she's a nurse and she drives, and you know, and it's just that triumph makes me more than fighters winning. Great, you know, they win or they lose. I can't make them win; it just make them feel better. But to see adversity like deep level, that young man, is why I do the job. You know.
So, I mean, again, it's incredible because for me, having a purpose, and my purpose is very much surrounded by others as well. Like I think it's important, you know, when people are like, oh, you need to, you know, what's your purpose? Or I don't know my purpose. I think it's just as important to sit down and choose your purpose. Just like, you know, you choose which career you're going to get into.
Yeah.
I think people don't choose their purpose because they kind of wait for it to come. And it's, you know, it is also one of those things that if you choose that that's going to be my purpose, and then you put in the groundwork to get to there, then that will become your purpose 100%. Because you've decided that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And even, you know, with this podcast and stuff, my goal out of it is not to become famous or so people, you know me from the podcast. My main purpose from the podcast is that if someone else comes on the podcast as a guest, then they can get well known, or you know, that they can get more clients for their job or for whatever they do.
There's a purity in that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it comes from a place of love.
You know what? Exactly. It's an empathetic way of being. You know, and I get accused sometimes of seeing the world with rose-tinted glasses. Oh, you know, this, I don't care. I like the way I look at things, you know. I don't get involved in things that are arduous for me. My job's arduous, like, you know, that young man who came in, and it's not all about hypnosis. You know, you hypnotise them, and a lot of people get this misconception: you get hypnotised and everything's gone away. It's not. Sometimes it's about absolutely just facing your own darkness. Sometimes the deepest levels of our psyche, our unconscious, we have to face. And I like going there. I say what anxiety has a nightmare about me.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I like. You know, comes from Doctor Who, that actually.
Yeah.
But you know, but what you do and the purity in it is magical. We need more people like you in the world.
And like
I'm
you,
being
mate.
honest.
No,
Well, thank you.
Honestly.
No, I'm being. It's a genuine mutual respect and love, really, because it's like when I was talking with Liam Harrison and stuff, and he's always been extremely supportive. And if you've heard me commentate on his fights, I'm extremely biased because I love my friend. You know, a lot of people say you're really
it's hard
biased.
Not to be, right?
I don't care what. I really don't. You know, I don't care. I mean, it's out there now, and it's always going to be there forever. So I don't care. But it's like, you know, you love what you love. You do what you do, and I just think, if we helped each other out, regardless of what you're from or where you colour your skin, it's easy enough. The world's it's hard enough, you know.
Just to get by in general.
100%.
I was having the same conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about how rough the world could be, and wars and colonizing and all that stuff. Yeah. And it goes back to that point of how you choose to view or which world you choose to be in. Is very important, because we have had the Genghis Khans and the Hitlers and all that stuff, but we also have had, in a very small amount of time, people who have cartographed the whole world, people who have, you know, taken the human race, that traveled to every corner of the world just so we can have an understanding, and people who have made medicine, and people who have, so there are so many, you know, heroes as well as villains in the world, and it's like, who do you choose to surround yourself by, and or what do you choose to focus on? Because if you only go out in the rain, you're going to get wet.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? But if you go out with an umbrella, you'll be fine for that day.
It's who you speak to and who you surround yourself with. You know, and you become your environment, which is difficult for some people to change, especially if it's say a drug addiction. That's hard to do, because you've got to really want to get out of the environment you're in, because the environment you're in is
you're a product of it.
Or they condone it. Oh, it's all right, because
they don't want you to get out either, because they're in it, and if you got out, there'd be one less.
Well, misery likes company, doesn't it? There's a saying, isn't it? Misery likes company. So therefore it is a difficult situation. Change isn't easy anyway. You know, it's a difficult, arduous situation. I have a breakthrough day, a thing called a breakthrough day, which I do. Next one's in February next year. And I always say, it's not easy. There's tears, there's hardships, but I guarantee it's worth it. You know, so it's just one of those things. And But I just think that if we did more to help each other, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, 100%.
None of us, we're all going to die anyway, aren't we?
Yeah,
so
exactly. And this is the thing that I keep telling people. I'm like, mate, this is a fart in the galaxy and then on to the next. Like, I don't know why you're letting things... I mean, we all have our traumas and we all have our things, but it's what you choose to give power to. And that thing that you said about friends is so important in the circle. I mean, there's an old Islamic saying that says, show me 4 of your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Yes. Without even meeting you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just let me see them lot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
And it's true. You know, cowboys are going to ride with cowboys. Yeah.
You've met 4 of my friends. You think it was around the bend? Oh, God, who cares?
No, but still, it's like, you know, cowboys ride with cowboys.
Yeah, of course.
And I was, you know, and I think it's very important for people to understand how many worlds there are within the world.
Yeah.
And how, like, for example, jiu-jitsu. A person that's a world. Yeah, that's not just a couple of people.
Of course,
that's a whole world. The people who do that live, breathe, eat, their community, their friends, they go through stuff together. Same with skateboarding.
Yeah.
If you're a skateboarder, you go to all the events, you get all the boards, you get all the skateboarding shoes, you get all that stuff. So, like, choose your world that you want to be a part of. And there's so many of them that are going on simultaneously.
It's funny because, like, you know, because I did it Showtime. So back when I was a commentator, I still am, obviously, because that's why I'm here, to commentate on Infusion. But I mean, we did it Showtime, and there was 26,000 people there, 89 countries live, and they were big events. And sometimes when people go to a smaller show and they go, "Isn't it the greatest show in the world?" and I'm like, "Yeah," but in my mind I go, "Not really." But but that's their world. Yeah. That's the way they live, and you can't. I always. It's my. I think when you get to a point of semi-fame, right, because of commentary and stuff, and being on various podcasts, I just think it's a duty of you to make them feel good while you're in their presence. Yep. So it's like kids, because I do a lot of shows in Holland and a lot of Moroccan magic. You know, you must have heard me say this. And I always say to a young kid, and he said, "Oh, I want to be on Infusion one day." And I say, "What's your name?" He says, "Oh, my name's Hassan," for instance. I go, "What's your coach?" He says his coach's name. I go, "Your coach has told me about you. You're meant to be. Yeah, I've heard you're really, really good." And they just grow. Yeah. And I just say, keep on, because I'm looking forward to seeing you now. Now I'm a big fan of you, and it's easy.
It's like the old Japanese rice thing, isn't it?
It's so easy.
Just say nice things to the rice and it will end up...
It's so easy. Yeah. I mean, why not?
And it's so cheap. You know, it's the cheapest thing in
the
world.
It's the cheapest thing in the world, isn't it? Saying, I can't wait to see you, and they do well. I mean, you don't know what direction they'll take in life, but if you can just... You never know these little ripple effects that
they might change everything about their direction. Yeah. Like, you never know. That kid could have been wanting to give up the day before. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? But that one little spark that you said to him could have made him think, "Oh no, wait."
Yeah, but it's like washing, isn't it? You put a white wash on, you put one red sock on, everything goes pink, and that's what can happen when, like, you know, for instance, people are doing well. They put all the work in, especially training fitness for fighters. They do all this fitness, so you know, diet and stuff. One little negative thought, and when you start to wonder and I wonder what that is, and then it just turns into this big, orchestra playing, and that's the area where I'm needed most. And I think that's what I do.
How did you get into hypnosis in the first place?
I was going through a hard time. I split up with the kid's mum. Mutual thing, it's mutual hatred at the time, and I was drinking a lot, taking recreational drugs, not really weed, bit of cocaine and stuff like that. Not a lot though, I mean, by anyone else's terms, but not a lot, but enough for me to not be me with it. And then I went to a seminar by a guy called Keith Mayer, who works for Liverpool Football Club, lovely guy, and I just was mesmerised by it, you know. I was just shocked. Like, wow, I just felt better and didn't know why. So I hounded him. As to what did he do and stuff like that. And they told me it was neuro-linguistic programming, NLP as it's called, And NLP is a derivative anyway of hypnosis. And that was it.
And you were just hooked from the beginning.
That was it. And then it just took me on this journey. Gave me a wonderful life and meeting wonderful people and doing wonderful things,
How do you... You know, there's a stigma. I mean, I'm not sure if it's there now like it used to be, because we kind of moved on and progressed, but back when I was growing up, if you said hypnotist, then I'd think, okay, he's going to sit 5 people down and make them cluck like chickens, and you're an alien, and and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, is that still there? A, does that even work?
Yes.
B, and what's the difference in between what you do?
If people want to make fools of themselves, carry on, but I'm not helping with that. So I can do it.
You can do it. Are people actually susceptible to that? To the point
I mean, but not everyone. And the reason why not everyone is it's a value thing. So if you was in a situation, if you're that type of person that would do that, you're probably the type of person that's going to do it. Anyone that volunteers and a comedy hypnosis wants to be laughed at.
But I mean, is it to the point that they won't remember what they're doing at all? Or is it a bit kind of like give and take between both?
You don't know, do you?
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. You don't really know whether they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know," or they go along with it just because they go along with it. That's not my thing. We did do it when I did my masters. We did do it. I got this woman to call everyone Ian. I said, "What's my name?" She said, Ian. What's his name? Ian. What's your name? Ian. Who's she? Ian. And that did work and stuff like that. But I believe if you want to do that and you want to get involved in that and you want to watch it, great, it's fun. However, it's not my calling to do that. I believe that this learnt skill set is for the good of getting them where they want to be.
Yeah, for sure. It's the higher purpose. Now, imagine getting to the gates of heaven. There's 2 of you and go, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
Well, I stopped people from committing suicide. What did you do? Well, I made them think it was a chicken for 3 years. Do you know what I mean?
You just make him sing like Elvis.
He'd be like, you're more fun. We're going to let you in. You should have worked harder.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard that there's that there are ways of telling if somebody is susceptible to hypnosis by looking up and the way the eyes blink and stuff like that. Is that true?
There's a few tests, a Spiegel test and stuff like that.
What are the kind of tests that you do?
I'm good linguistically.
Okay.
Because you know that already, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, how do you know? You see, can also
instinctive, right?
Well, it's also that since you've started talking to me, in the last few minutes, you've got more relaxed.
Yeah.
That's right. So you have. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I've noticed it now.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I've also noticed since you've started talking to me that you can feel the chair and know that you're safe. Because people don't understand how comfortable chairs are, and as you're starting to be aware of that, that's right, isn't it?
It's quite comfy. It's
nice.
Exactly.
It's hugging me.
It's hugging me.
You start to feel it.
Yeah. Becoming aware, becoming more aware of it.
Becoming aware of things that's outside your awareness.
Yeah.
And you know the things that you know. It's just a bit
what have I got in my pocket?
Well, it's something to surprise you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you do is that I utilise what's around me. It can be just a game.
Yeah. And you start to see people's, because body language is very important, right?
Yeah.
So you see when people are sitting with their legs away from you or sitting towards you or hands where they are and stuff.
It's not that complicated.
Yeah, I mean, for other people.
Yeah,
but I mean,
no,
for
I don't do that. It's linguistics with me.
But I mean, do you start to notice that as you're talking to someone that, he's kind of faced me a bit more. He's looks a bit more floppy, relaxed.
No, I just notice. What I do notice, the number one thing is breathing changes.
I like the way you're looking at me in my eyes. Yeah. You're looking right into my soul.
Well,
there. See that?
It's also just a game.
Yeah.
And we can all be kings or queens or just make the right move.
Why do I feel like I'm going to get a text message from you after this episode about 4 hours later going, all right, at 20 minutes this happened, at 25 minutes this happened, and blah, blah. When you watch it again, you're going to realise.
If you just notice, I utilise this.
Yeah.
So I just utilise it as a game.
Yeah.
We can be kings or queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, I don't think that's the hypnosis. I think that because you're Mancunian and you got that way of the road, bro. I also grew up in London, so I know how to use everything to my advantage.
I live in Cheshire. There's no roads; it's lanes.
Lanes.
But it's just like you just have to keep yourself in check, mate.
And you don't have to. I like that one.
Well, that's what I do, because if you utilise things around you, it becomes more like just water.
Yeah, we're gonna do.
So that's what I do. That's what I do. I
drank a Red Bull. I better not crash anytime soon.
I like that. No, sounds about Red Bull. But it's what I do is because I love the language so much, and I love it, and I've been trained very, very well. This is not it's not gift or you're gifted. It's not. I don't believe it at all. I believe it's something I really love, and I put my heart and soul into it. And that's all. And when you use language in a way that's so try to be elegant in a way that's more sophisticated than just when you wake up, you blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, fine. But I like the linguistic side of it, you know, and that's what I really enjoy. Funny enough, that's what I did with Brendan. So Brendan was talking to me, and everyone else would listen and say, and he sounds up for the fight. And then he said a sentence, and I went, that doesn't make sense. So it's like, old MacDonald had a farm. On that farm, he had a pig, and the pig barks. Well, pigs don't bark. Doesn't make sense. So when he said that, and I pointed out, the change was huge, yeah? And that's what fighters don't get. So when fighters are going to fight week, they contact me, expecting me to go, abracadabra, you're fixed. I can't do it, because I don't know you. I don't know how you talk to yourself. It's about being interested instead of interesting. You've got all glassy-eyed, by the way.
Oh, you make me want to cry. I love you. So how do we manage expectations, and how do you achieve that through hypnosis?
What do you mean?
So obviously you help people manage their expectations in life.
Yeah.
Do you ever get people that are expecting it? I mean, you just mentioned it with the fighters, but how do you manage the expectations of people who come to you wanting to solve a problem through the hypnosis? Right.
When people come to me for hypnosis, I don't do it. I don't do it because they think that's going to change them, and I don't do it. It all depends on what avenue I see, what they say, what they give away. Hypnosis isn't good for everything. It's good for certain things, not good for everything. Conversational hypnosis is better. You know, allowing yourself to realise and understand things at a level that you understand. And when you start, I think solving anything is an understanding. It's not so much sleep and you'll forget about it, really.
Yeah.
It's about you going. It's about you understanding from your perspective. So I like to get rapport with clients, so I understand where they're coming from, and then they realise that when you get that eureka moment, the problem can't come back because you've already solved it. It's a bit like, say, The Wizard of Oz, the movie Wizard of Oz. They don't see the wizard and all that, Yellow Brick Road, and then we get behind the curtain, there's a little old man there with, like, he's not really a wizard. So they go, all right. You know when someone shows you a magic trick? You go, and they do this magic and when you do it, you go, ooh, that bit flat. You go, oh, right, is that it? That's how I like to work mine, because then it sort of like breaks it permanently, you know? But there's loads of different avenues of what we do. I love it. Yeah, it's a great job.
I mean, I really love the fact that you used the term linguistic, because I've always loved words. I've always had the gift of the gab. My surname is Jibber, so that's why it's Jibber with Jabber. And I love languages as well, so I learn a lot of languages just because I know, like, for example, if I go to Spain, or if I go to Brazil, or if I go to South America, or if I go to wherever, the second I start speaking in somebody's language, everything about the way they look at me changes. Even, especially that they know I'm not from there. So it kind of warms them as well.
But it's courteous.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's effort. You know, it's effort. I went to Thai food today in the place, and I can't speak Thai, you know, but I can say thank you and this and this. And I said it to this girl's looking, and all that. And she's looking at me, and then she's like, I'm from the Philippines. But I was like, okay, well, what's thank you in Filipino then? I just think it's a duty for us to just learn a little bit and show respect to where you are. And of course it is. Yeah, of course it is.
The point that I wanted to get to with that is, do you feel like hypnosis is done by a lot of people without them even realizing? Because I'm a big proprietor or a big fan of words have power. And, you know, you get these Tinder swindlers, and you get these kind of people who are womanizers, and you get these people who convince people to do this and that and all that. In a sense, they are using some form of hypnosis, right? By structuring their words and their conversations in the right way to make this other person want to give them stuff, or wanting to whatever. So do you feel like kind of somewhere indirectly some people are more suited to kind of use it without them even noticing they're
narratives
doing it?
So when people are very good at telling stories, that's an unconscious thing. You know, so when you be able to tell a story, when you tell a really good story that moves people in a way that they have to consider what it would feel like to be in that situation, to be in that time, that's the way that. And metaphorically, metaphors are very, very powerful for people. You know, in business, I work with business people, and their businesses have changed because of the way that their demeanor changes. They haven't got this pullback you know, pulling them back. They've got a more fluid way of being, you know, and especially people that can tell stories.
How do you posted something about the impact of exaggerating language?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
How it's accentuating language for a negative sort of way of being.
Okay.
Like, there's a popular saying in England at the moment, isn't it the worst thing ever? No, clearly not. Oh, my guitar, you know, I couldn't start my car, it's the worst thing ever. It's not, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of plenty of worse things that you wouldn't enjoy. So what people do is they tend to express themselves in an exaggerated way. And how do you expect the unconscious not to go along with what you say? Because you're saying it's the worst thing ever. Well, the worst thing ever denotes that chemically you're going to start producing more things in your body because it's the worst thing ever, remember? So you're going to make yourself feel absolutely dreadful when really it's not.
It's not as bad yet, and people are going through much worse.
Indeed. But then people, it's relative, isn't it? You know, like some people, it's the worst thing ever. They didn't have any champagne in the hotel. And you know, and you're like, right.
The other one's like, I don't have legs. It's the worst thing ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that, you know, and I've got 2 weeks to live, and I've got 4 kids. You know, these things happen. People should be aware of what other people are going through. You know, and the narratives some narratives are very, very upsetting.
And it's hard because there's also that kind of mental health side of things where you don't really know, and a lot in the male, you know, side of things where you don't really know. Recently, I don't know if you heard Twitch. He's the very famous dancer, and he was the DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Okay. Committed suicide. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Left 3 beautiful children and a wife behind. And he's one of these people that, if someone said, "I'll give you $1 million," that he would do it tomorrow, you would never believe it. Yeah. So it's very strange how you just don't know the light of how dim the light is inside of someone, especially even when they're, you know, shining an extraordinary light on the outside. Sometimes
you'll never know. I mean, you won't know. But I think what the problem is this big stigma in being a certain way, and because of social media, the way it's directed, you know, like people. How many times you seen, you know, people's legs stretched out next to the pool? How's your Monday, right? You know, or whatever. And I just think that there's a thing that I did recently, and it's called Cards on the Table, and I got a group of people to tell the truth. I said, and there were fighters, and the fighters hide things. So let's just use fighters as an example, men or even women, of course, because we are fighters. And I just say, tell the truth. What is it? And they go, what if I get beat? And everyone will laugh at me and be like, tell the truth then. It won't change unless you say it, because it just stays here. You know, it just stays in the area that it dwells in. And when they put it out, put it on the cards on the table, and they tell the truth, you can reframe it then. Because it's weird, because people come in and they go, oh, are you going to think I'm weird? And there's no one weirder than me. Yeah. You know, and they're going to say something. I go, I think that. Because they keep it in and they think, oh, I won't tell anyone about that. And when you do reveal it, it's always a lot less serious than you
make it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that I think as well is that people need to realize, as harsh as this sounds, nobody cares. Do you know what I mean? About your issues and all that stuff. They're so busy dealing with their own life that you can literally say something outrageous the one day about yourself. Yeah. And then the next day they'll call you up and forgotten all about it because they haven't got time. They can't consume it.
You know
properly.
What else as well? It's mind reading. So people say they worry about what other people think. How can you think what other people think? Oh, and they're going to think, really? How do you know? Someone said it to me once. He went, no, I know what you're thinking. I went, what? And he said something. I said, custard. Yeah. You don't know what anyone's thinking unless they tell you. And even if they tell you, they don't want to be telling you the truth anyway. Yeah. But it's a big thing that, I'm worried about what other people think. How can you think about the language? Yeah. I'm worried about what other people think. It does not make sense. But when you say it to someone, they go, oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot of people will... You could be the nicest, like Christianity, for instance. You could be the greatest person. Jesus water into wine, healed the sick, raised the dead, still killed him. Yeah, exactly. Still killed him. Yeah. So you could be the nicest person. Someone's going to hate you. That's just the way that the psyche is, I'm afraid. Sadly, you know.
It is, and trying to, I think what you do is what I really like as well is the awareness. It's to build awareness in people of all the things around them and all the issues and all that stuff, because the mind is programmed. I can't remember how, don't quote me on this, but it's something like 7 or 70,000 negative thoughts a day that your body just does anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's a guess.
Yeah.
But it sounds cool.
I will go with 35.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
But even still, I mean, I'm sure they've done tests of some sort about it.
I don't see how.
Well,
but I get where you're coming from. But it's a narrative that's interesting.
But yeah, that we're in that mode where we're always worried about stuff. Like you were saying, the protection mode and all that stuff. So
well, it depends what day you're having.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, if you're having a normal day where you're sat in your house, you got a day off work, you're watching the TV and you're on your Xbox or whatever, PlayStation, not that I've got one, 53.
Yeah.
And, you know, but then again, then you've got another day where you're in traffic and you're late for work and your dog's got run over. God forbid, I love dogs. You know, or whatever. And it depends on the day, doesn't it? It depends on what's going on at that particular time. So to measure it, it'd be difficult, but it makes sense to try and, we have to make sense of the world because then it makes us feel safe.
Yeah.
If we make sense of everything, then if we understand it, it makes us feel safe.
Especially as nothing is certain.
Nothing.
You know, like that whole, I used to think it was unfair. When I was younger, I used to think it's unfair that we don't all get to 70 and it's just like that thing. Like, you know, all right, here's the world, here's Earth, you're going to get 100 years, everyone's going to get to 100 years, and then that's your lot. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, mate, it's a bit boring, isn't it? Like knowing all that stuff and that. But there is that level of uncertainty that you could fart too hard. And I'm sure if we search the history books, someone farted themselves to death. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sure they spontaneously
comedic
combusted.
Way to go, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But there's been random things. Like there was a kid that died when, I mean, had everything going for him. He was walking, a bottle fell from a building, hit him on the head, and he died. Yeah. Like, how random.
But this is why I don't understand why people don't work with me. Yeah. Because why have an unhappy life? Like fighters work with me when they've lost, or companies get me when the business is going. Get it going better
in the beginning.
Exactly.
But I mean, I used to be a celebrity trainer, and I used to get people who'd come up to me and go, "Listen, I need to get like this in 6 weeks." And I say to them, well, how long did it take you to get like that? Yeah. And they say, oh, about 8 years. And I would say, oh, you want me to reverse that in 6 weeks? Fair enough. Prevention is better than the cure, right? So,
you know what I've learned recently, and it's such an obvious thing, is we're the only mammal that knows its own mortality. So that's why I don't see anxious animals as, obviously, they're in distress, of course. But, you know, we're the only thing that knows that we haven't got long. Yeah. Or are we perceived to be...
Cats have figured it out, mate.
Probably, probably.
Dickheads, they definitely figured it out. They know something we don't know because they just don't care about anything, mate.
Yeah, if anyone breaks in your house, a dog will bark at me. Yeah, cat will just go, get what you want. Cat will go,
come over here. This is where he keeps all of his money, over there. Just don't mess up my tea or anything like that, and then you'll be all right.
Don't eat my food. But, I mean... We're the only species that knows that, and I just think it's. We also know that we can have the ability to be able to find people to change that. Not just me. I mean, you know, there's other people out there that, you know. I don't profess to be the best at anything. I'm just better than I was when I started. You know. But I think you're right. There's a lot of good trainers, people, nurses, doctors. Bus drivers, cab drivers, anyone that has these way of just making people feel good, and they are about. They're just a very special breed.
Do you think everybody's got trauma?
In some way or form, yes. Levels of trauma is different, but I mean, they might perceive it as trauma. And I've seen, like I said, the young man that walked in. That was one of the things that stuck in my mind, you know. I think everyone has, but levels of it. And it depends how you give into it, you know. Depends how you surrender to it. Do you surrender to it? Is it something you surrender to? Or is it something you have to battle against or learn to cope with or change or whatever? That's why the job's so interesting. People say to me, "Oh yeah, what's a typical thing?" There isn't one. Never.
Do you think a lot of childhood trauma blends into adult life a lot?
100%. So if you think about childhood, from the age of when you're born to when you're 7, you basically download information, right? So you're like video camera, yeah. And your video camera for 7 years, because you don't understand language, you don't understand emotions, you don't understand reality. And that's why people should keep their children as long as they can, because the reality of the world in certain aspects is horrific, as we know. But I mean, they download information. So yeah, so what happens is they download information and they have a belief then. So if it's a repeated thing, a repeated thought process, a repeated idea becomes a belief. And then what happens is the unconscious mind will keep that belief to protect itself. So you could go crazy over something. For instance, when I was a kid, I had asthma really badly. I'm writing a book, so the Shoreman solution that I've got, I'm writing a book, and I write about my childhood in it, because I just think that there's no point in talking about someone I don't know when I know who I am and know what I've gone through. And when I was a child, I had really bad childhood asthma. I died twice. I was in hospital all the time.
You died twice?
Yeah. Didn't play football. Yeah.
I like the way you just say that, like it's normal.
Well, if I dwell on it, what for?
Yeah.
I did die twice. And I was extremely ill. And the father was a registered psychopath. He's an abuser. Beat my mum up. My mum went through all sorts of trauma. Had 5 kids. Worked 2 jobs. Incredible lady. God rest her. And when one time I was having convulsions, a really bad asthma attack, and very high fever, and there was a TV show on called Joe 90. It was made by Jerry Anderson, who made Thunderbirds. And if Joe 90 came on, I would scream the house out, because it brings you back to that moment, even though you don't understand it because it's unconscious. It brings you to that moment, yeah. So I mean, don't do it now, like Joe 90's not on, thank God. But it's certain things in childhood. I have a technique where, if anyone wants to try it, no problem, is what you do is, when you needed yourself the most, so imagine you needed yourself when you was a child, a particular day, a particular time when you might have been alone, you might have felt like the world's on top of you, etc. Imagine you going back in imaginary-based process, so you close your eyes. You imagine going back to that child and telling the child what you achieved. Show him your house. Talk about your children. Talk about your job. Talk about what you've met, the countries you've been. And see what the reaction, and then ask the child what it thinks. What would it say? And mine was, am I allowed? This is a gospel honest truth. I thought, I'm allowed. I thought, wow, that was profound. But when we actually ask ourselves, that part of us, so we have different parts, yeah. So people say, I'm 50-50, part of me thinks this, part of me thinks that, When you go back to that part, that child, and if any of your listeners, viewers and everything want to do it, it can be arduous, but go back and just ask and show the child what you've actually achieved, because let's face it, you're where you are now. You've done it. You've already achieved it. With so many things that we pull ourselves apart upon, yet you don't see the successes you made. Remember when it was very difficult to tie your shoelaces? Probably not. You just go, tie them now, and because you don't appreciate your unconscious mind teaching you, remembering your phone number. I bet you remember your house phone number, don't you? Yeah. Everyone does. But it's just like we go back and we can nurture that side of us in the past. That's what we do on Breakthrough Day. We go back to that past, and we get rid of the trauma. We get rid of the emotions around it. The situation, that's always going to be a memory. However, the emotional fire we put out. So it's a great job, man.
It really is. And do you think that other people kind of they handle these things differently when they're children? Yeah. And then it helps them to kind of not see it as a bad thing? Or do you think some people think they're handling it, but that's actually detrimental to their...
It depends on how it transpires as an adult, because kids are very resilient,
We'll talk about resilience after, but
the children are very resilient, and they just shrug their shoulders over stuff, because don't forget, they don't know the gravitas of what's going on. They don't know the gravitas of what is actually happening.
But even name calling and stuff like that, that could change the character of a child. Like, I remember when I was younger, I mean, I've always had a big nose. It's been this size, but a small head around it when I was younger. So I remember one day I went out, and then one of my mates was like, Gonzo from the Muppet Babies, which I can kind of see now because I do have the big eyes and all that stuff. And from that day, everyone was calling me Gonzo. And I was like, what's all this about? Where did this come from? I don't like this. The first day. But then after that, I was just like, like I had no reaction to it at all. And didn't let it phase me at all.
That's who you are.
Yeah. So I'm like, did I decide, well, no, that's not going to.
When I was young, I was young once. It's a very long time ago. When I was young, I lived in Longsight in Manchester, which is a rough part of Manchester, very rough. And there was 4 white kids in my class, and everyone else was from different nations. And I never witnessed any racism at all. None. I had Indian friends, Pakistani friends, black friends. It was just great, you know. I loved it, and and I've still got fond memories of them, and still friends with them on Facebook now, you know, various. But I remember a story of there was a kid called Jason, and I was only 9, and he must have been about 6, maybe 5. He tried to paint himself. So he wanted to be white. He tried to paint himself.
As in?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actual paint. And for a strange thing, because there was a mixed culture, but it was called Black Jason. And I thought, why did they? And even now, it doesn't compute in my head. Why would they call him Black Jason? Even though there was other kids. Black kids call him Black Jason. It wasn't. They weren't bullying. They just said it. I don't know why.
Was there another Jason who was there as well?
Not sure. But I remember him painting himself. And since writing the book, it's very cathartic because you actually really go back and you go, wow, I wonder what he's doing. I wonder what, just that tweak of, and that's what I love about the job. If we can, and your thing, what you do, if you can just tweak somebody. I mean, he was a baby painting himself white. Yeah. Even if you're not watching that and it doesn't make you go, wow, poor fucker. Yeah. Then you're not in the. That might not want to get on with me.
I mean, I think also the problem with kids like I had a friend of mine who was on the show. He's lost both. He was 4 years old. Lost both his legs from the knee down. Right. He's called Bionic Body now. Became a bodybuilding champion and everything. Achieved a lot.
Yeah, amazing.
But we were talking about that whole thing with kids will come up to him today, and kids are very honest. Yeah. They'll go, "You ain't got no legs," and they don't mean it in a bad way or whatever. But they're just very observant, and they say what they see, kind of thing. So, I think it's a mixture of that, and then a mixture of what goes on at home, what they hear their parents say. So we're hoping that home is good, but unfortunately it's not for everyone.
No, it's decorum, isn't it? And sometimes kids are cruel. Yeah, kids are just cruel. I mean, I was one of them. I'm not going to pretend that. And I was dead nice to everyone. I was just a horrible little.
Just walk around in a robe with a bald head and just
exactly. I was horrible, and I did things where I look back and I go, what was I thinking? Yeah, to be able to say, do or act like that, and it's
also
a journey.
That's also a great reference point for you to who the person you want to be is now. Yeah. Because you can go, well, that I didn't like that. Yeah. Looking back at it. Yeah. So I want to be this kind of person now, and really kind of push that side of it. Yeah. So it's kind of a blessing at the same time that you do have that to look back on.
I just think I just like people. I like triumph. I like triumph. I like over adversity and stuff, and just interesting. Sorry, I just jumped to things. It's the ADHD that.
That's the way it is.
The language patterns have changed. So from 1914 to 1918 is the First World War, and from 1939 to 1945, in England, especially because I speak English, we had sort of a camaraderie because of what the impending was that the Nazis were going to come, and it was a very, very arduous time, and there was a collective. People had to come together. But the language patterns changed. So that's why you're getting, isn't it the worst thing in the world? Or like people saying they're depressed. Depression exists. It's awful and it's a terrible, terrible thing. But people just readily say it.
Say it like it's nothing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You really? I mean, depressing is
Yeah.
people, depressed people, who commit suicide don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
It's deeper levels. So what we do is we just throw it out there, and I'm anxious and stuff like that. And I just think that since the language has changed, there's a less collective way of being. And then since the pandemic, which was I believe was an undeclared war. You see, we didn't have any reference points. We didn't have someone say, "Oh, I've been through a pandemic." I mean, that's what we'll use when we're older, won't we?
Yeah,
to kids.
exactly.
Oh, I went through the pandemic, me. Yeah. But other people,
we had to
didn't
wear
have
masks. Like
yeah,
it
but
was,
we didn't have any reference.
Yeah, yeah.
So it took a level of terror across the world. Anyone that says that they weren't worried about the pandemic's a liar. Because everyone went, what? Because everyone must have questioned what's going on. I mean, it might be at the gravitas of we're all going to die and we're doomed, might not have thought of that. But we all had some level of worry because it was out there. Not whatever you believe, I don't not into the conspiracies and stuff like that, whatever people believe, I'm fine with, But what I do know is there was a level of attack from an undeclared war. And we're seeing ramifications of it now. We really are.
Going to come out. It's my next episode. The truth behind the pandemic is going to come out.
Yeah.
So, what is resilience, and how does one implement that in their life to be resilient, or to kind of be aware and up their resilience?
Resilience is a learned behaviour that you put yourself in. So it's spectacular things like Wim Hof. Going in the ice and all that some stuff. I've been to his house. Yeah,
nice.
He's name dropping there, aren't they? Yeah. And and there's that, and there's the amazing David Goggins, what he does and the way he conducts what he does. Another incredible guy. But I think with resilience I think people don't understand that they've got resilience. I mean, think of it like at the moment in England it's -8. So when I was on the way to Dubai, I stood in the queue and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, and as much as I'm grateful for it, I'm like, fucking hell, I'm knackered, and come on, hurry up, move your tray, put your fucking things, and then, but then I think there's guys outside digging holes in -8, they're already resilient. Resilience, if you want more resilience in your life, you've got to put yourself through arduous things.
I mean, people going to work every day to a job that they hate, fucking resilient as hell.
100%. There's so many people that, the taxi drivers, train drivers, nurses, doctors, whoever, they're resilient. People that work in hotels and they get people speaking to them like shit, and they're resilient because they've got to let it bounce off them, But the force resilience is actually going, right, what am I scared of? What am I willing to do about it? And how am I going to do about it? And what am I going to do about it? And that's forcing yourself in a situation to cause yourself a lot of problems. I'm quite weird. I kind of do that, I had singing lessons. I mean, I'm not going to knock out
what was your
my album's out next week.
What was your song of choice?
Moon Dance.
Okay.
By my Michael Bublé, and I had singing lessons because I knew that it would be embarrassing for me to do it. Cameras don't bother me because I'm a commentator, standing in the ring and whatever. But I put myself in that situation, and later in 2023, I'm going to do High Rocks, which is an arduous, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not made for that, but I'm gonna do it because I can't preach without practicing.
Is that also because you feel like you've achieved most of the things that scare you, that you have to look for other ones?
I'm completely nowhere near where I want to be as a human being. I want to be a better man. I want to be a better person. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to learn more. I want to spend more time with people like you to educate myself, and I'm far from finished. But I just love helping people. It's darkness that I hate. It's fear that I hate. I don't like people crying, worried, scared, when you can just show light to them. I know it sounds. I have a tattoo. I have a tattoo. It's Hebrew. I'm not Jewish, but I have a Hebrew.
Get him.
Tattoo on my, and it says there is always light.
Yeah.
And that came from timeline therapy, another therapy that we do. And they would say, what's the learning? And I went, for some reason, there is always light. I've never thought that in my life. It just came to me because of the unconscious. I like people triumph, you know. I like adversity. I like people up against it. I enjoy that more. I like underdogs.
Is it also things that you're scared of, or the things that you dislike? Like, for example, I don't see the whole thing about dancing. I just think it's arrogant walking. I don't like it.
Right.
And especially when I see people doing routines. Like, for me, I couldn't think of anything worse to do. But is there a fear there, or
what's
is that
about?
I don't know, dude. I just think that, I mean, I'll have a little, jig.
You did it well.
But when, exactly. See, so I know I'm doing it now.
You could do jigging with Jibber.
Like, exactly. I couldn't think of a worse thing than.
Yes, you could.
Okay,
yes,
let me rephrase my my words. I chose the words. I couldn't think of something more uncomfortable. Yes, I could. I wouldn't like.
You just don't like it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like if you said 4 of us are going to learn this routine now. I would be like, why? Like, what could you possibly? But again, there are worlds where people dancing is everything.
I didn't hate singing. I make that point. I didn't hate it. I just knew that it'd make me uncomfortable.
But that's what I'm saying. Dancing would make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, well.
But it's not. But you're going to gain something out of that, right? Yeah,
but what do you want to find out about yourself? Look, evidently, I think there might be a limiting belief that you think you can't do it.
No, I'm very good.
Okay, well, let you.
I'll have you know that I can wipe the floor of that dance floor.
You don't hate it.
It's just not for me. But I just don't understand.
No, but you don't hate it then. So there's a conflict.
I don't understand it for me.
Yeah, but there's a conflict because you just said I'll have a go. Well, then if you have a go, you don't hate it. It's like people saying I'm terrified of flying.
Yeah.
They go, come to me. Oh, yeah, you need your help. And I'm like, come in, because this is how they talk, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh,
the whole
they
thing.
hello. Yeah. And they come in and go, I'm terrified of flying. Oh, God. And I can't. And then I get on the blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? When you go on a holiday? And they go, Tuesday.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
said, fuck off.
Yeah.
You're not terrified of it then, are you?
Yeah.
It's an accentuated thing.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Always get rid of flying phobias, yeah? But it's like, you've got to be mindful as well that if you are terrified of something, there's a saying, monkey see, monkey do, you will teach it your children.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful what you're teaching your kids. You might teach them right from wrong, don't steal, don't do this, don't do that, don't swear, don't be racist, the things that you should do. But there's other things that you teach your kids.
Limiting beliefs and all that stuff.
Limiting beliefs, yeah. So it's got to be mindful.
Different people are different, and I noticed that with my wife. So we're built differently in a sense, and we literally were speaking about this 2 nights ago. I completely disassociate when I watch things on TV.
Okay.
If I'm watching a murder show, or if I'm watching, I don't feel anything in my bones.
Yeah.
Or if literally, if a car hits someone on a normal TV show, she'll go, like that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And she'd be like, he just got hit by the car, it must have hurt, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's TV and he's an actor.
But did you nearly cry when Aunt May died in Spider-Man?
Dude, I cried when Thingy died.
Who?
Mufasa.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean,
there you go.
Is that people are kind of built differently like that?
Yeah,
because
and that's why the world's so wonderful.
Yeah,
it's an eclectic mix of people's understandings of things, and
Aunt May was a cool aunt though.
Pardon?
Aunt May was
she
a cool
was
aunt.
cool, yeah. She was
yeah.
But yeah, so it's just about what I try and get over it in my seminars as well. Is try and help. I've got a seminar this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to talk about. Let's talk about the Shoreman solution.
Yeah, I'm doing a seminar for is it Muay Thai Muppets?
Yeah. Jason Woodham.
Shout out to him. I love Jason. I've known Jason years. He's so funny. Yeah. He's a top guy. And the Shoreman solution, we do various things. We do with businesses and stuff like that. We do breakthrough days, as I said. But the seminar, you're more than welcome to come, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
The seminar, I'm going to do it different, and it's a risk, but I like it. It's just something I believe in, and I'm going to do something that I've never done before in a seminar, which is secret.
When is it?
Saturday.
Yeah, this comes out Monday, so you can see it now.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, you're coming. Are you coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell me?
I'll tell you. Yeah. So what happens is, so I'm going to get this. I hope this works. I hope this works.
If it doesn't, I'll cut it. Cut
yeah, thank you. It's like, I want to take people to max out on press-ups. So I'll say, right, I'm going to get them in a state where I just talk normal. Yeah, you go, just to see how many you can do. And then I'm going to get them with a partner. So they both maxed out. Then I get a partner and I say, I just want you to encourage the person. I just want to say, look at them and say you can do it. But really look at them. Don't go, you can do it. Yeah. Forget all the shyness. Yeah. So I'm going to say, look, I'm going to give you a choice. You either can have an easy seminar where it's all nice and then you believe in yourself and you breathe in and then everything's all right. Or you just go, right, let's face something. Yeah. And then, so how I'm going to do it is, when they get with the person, and this person, I will teach so what we'll do is, I'll talk in a mediocre way, if that makes sense, in a mediocre way. Then I'll ramp it up. So I'll ramp it up linguistically, and then start building the energy higher. Then I'll get them to max out press-ups with the person lying next to him saying, this is for you, this is for this is for that, and watch him double it. Yeah. You know why? Because it's how you speak to yourself that matters. It's how you have a conversation with yourself that matters. I'm from Partington. I'm from nowhere. I went on Joe Rogan 4 times. You know, did I mention?
Yeah, did I mention that
Joe Rogan?
After I finished at Wim Hof's house, I walked over to Rogan's.
Yeah. But you know, and it's just like you have to push yourself somewhere along the line. You have to go against that. You have to leap sometimes, you know, and go where you want to go. I wasn't meant to. If you look at what you really meant to, you weren't. Not really. You weren't meant to, but you wanted more for yourself. You wanted more for your life and stuff like that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is get them to max out. Then I say and when the person is talking to the person doing the press ups, it's only you talking to you. Because there is someone in your life that has motivated you to be stronger. There is one person specifically that if you've got that person right now, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That person said to you, living or dead, they're alive. Okay. And they said to you, whispered in your ear and said, listen, there's another fucking 10 there. Yeah. There's another 15 in you, is there not?
I'll end up doing 30.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, we have that. But it's because sometimes we look at amazing people like Goggins, David Goggins, and other people, It's like, if we can find that self-talk that goes, I fucking got to do this. I did it today. So I did 10 sets of whatever. 10 sets of clean and press, 10 sets of pull-ups, 10 sets of dips. And I'm 53, I'm not in any brilliant shape like you see some of the people that have sticky muscles out everywhere. However,
because you didn't let Joe give you the TRT and the HRT.
Yeah. But it's just like, when I have to talk to myself, and it's never easy for anyone that's a successful person. It's how you talk to yourself that will direct where you go. Not everyone else, no one else. It's the narrative you tell yourself.
And I think it's kind of amazing sometimes when, because I'm like you in a lot of, if I can say, in a lot of ways where I can give anyone a kick up the arse. Yeah. Like anyone. Yeah. And in such a beautiful and motivating way that I can change their life. Yeah. And then sometimes I think, why am I not doing it to myself? Yeah. Like, I'm so busy trying to do that I'm like, you could do with a bit of that yourself. Yeah. So then I need to get it from another source. Yeah. Who's doing it to everyone else. Yeah. I
think we all do. That's what I'm saying about the press-ups, you see. If they're talking about somebody else that's external, but really it's internal, because you're thinking about something external, it's internal anyway. Yeah. That's the way you'll get to push them to where they want to. I'll watch your show, and see stories and motivate me, or I'll watch Andre Ward, a boxer who I love, or I'll listen to someone on Joe Rogan, and various people. I've got a lot of people that I hero worship in my life. Julie, who's doing the show, Julie Kitchen, and she's the nicest human being ever. Lovely she's such a sweetheart, but she is absolutely rock hard. So it's so many heroes I've got in my life.
Do you think that's important for people, especially in a time where it's kind of a weird balance between find it in yourself, because you need to find it in yourself, and seek it from other people? Do you think it's important that we seek that from other people to kind of motivate and help push? And is there a balance where you can also slip into only relying on other outer motivation and not internal?
Everything out of motivation's inner motivation, isn't it? Because you can't...
reflection, right? The mirroring.
It's a decision.
Yeah.
It's a decision that you take. I worked with a lady called Karen, and she had cancer when the pandemic was on. So she had to go to chemotherapy on her own. She got 2 kids, husband. Husband lost his job. He got another one. Everything could go wrong went wrong. Yeah. And she went and she was going to get chemotherapy on, with, and when you couldn't take anyone in the hospital, she's on her own, and there was people around her who, some people were there 1 week, some people weren't there the next, if you know what I mean. And to know what she went through, to hear the story, she never tells it in a way that is upsetting on purpose. She just tells you anyway, and you think, wow, what did you go through? And to because she works with me, and to see how she is as a person, how she treats people, what have I got really to worry about? How can I really moan? I just think it's sometimes, I think we have to got to look at other stories and go, oh, thank God that wasn't me. Oh, right, okay. I think we've all got to have our inner someone, something, whether it's a past person from your past who died, or someone that was kind to you, or someone that was unkind to you. I think you can use it for both ways,
So if I was to ask you now, what's your mission statement through your vision, and what's driving you to do what you do? If you can encapsulate it.
I like making people feel happy. So I just enjoy making people, well, I don't know, I have a strange way of being as a person. I've never told anyone this. Is I remember people's smiles, or remember the sound of them laughing, and or the way that, I mean, Moroccans and various have a beautiful way of shaking your hand and putting the hand on the heart, and I do that all the time. And I just love that, and I see it so many times. But I just want people to be better, to get them better, to get them where they should be, or where they want to be, and just keep vampires from the door, because the lights will go off in all our lives, And I don't know, it makes it a bit quick, down your fingers down your throat, but I just like people achieving. I hate fear. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're obviously on the track and on the right track to getting exactly where you want to be. If you haven't reached there already, I mean, I heard you once say that you've literally saved people's lives before. Yeah. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, of course.
Like, forget the money, forget having a successful business. If you didn't make anything and were a bum for the rest of your life, but could continue to save lives. Yeah. I mean, how incredible was that?
I mean, I know I have, and I'm sure that I will, and it's not like it's just, I just listen, Sometimes just listen. Stop going. We all know, if we're going to tell somebody something, we already know it anyway. It's not education. There's an art to listening. But I know I've saved people's lives. I know I've done that. But it's also saved mine. And these people have saved my life. These people have made me realise, look, the guy that came and told you about that story that we've been in the podcast, beat that. You moan now, and you go home sometimes with your hand in your head. I never get really emotionally involved in it, because I just think I'm not helping then. A bit like if they're drowning in the sea, I'll get in with them. You don't do that, do you? Yeah. But it's just like you have to stay detached emotionally. But what have I got to worry about? I meet people like you. I'm friends with people that that people revere, and I'm a lucky. Now I've worked at it. If I'm honest, I put myself in a risky situation. When I went on Rogan, I had to hypnotise him. Everything was on the line then. I'd have gone on Joe Rogan, not hypnotised him. It was live in front of millions of people, and gone, this is Vinny Shoreman, he's a failed hypnotherapist. Hi. Yeah. I took risks. So I'm not blessed in many ways, but I mean, I took risks. I don't work hard. Don't work harder than everyone else, and I'm the first in, last out, and all that sort of malarkey. No.
I hate that.
I know, but what I am, I did. My friend, is I took risks, and I will continue to do that.
Dude, it's been absolutely incredible, and it's just a testament to yourself of what you've achieved and what you're doing out there. And like we said, like, there needs to be more people like you in the world, and not necessarily doing what you're doing, but doing whatever they're doing with that right intention, because I believe that intention is everything.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know,
100%.
and I feel like so many people have the capacity to do things from a place of love.
Yeah.
But how to start that is the tricky part.
Yeah.
And how to realize that this is the purpose.
Let yourself be.
Yeah.
Sometimes just let yourself be. Look at you straight away. Met me straight away. Liked you straight away. This connection bumps with you straight away. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's just like, just let yourself be. You know, just be all right. Just be decent. That's the thing. Just be decent to people, you know. I make money. I'll always make money because people want to work with me and they like what I do, thankfully. But just be decent, you know. I was can I tell you this quick story? On the way to my friend Phil, who is a client and a good friend of mine, he paid me for it to go business class. I've never been business class before. I'm not, you know, not yet. But anyway, business class. The first time flying, I was really happy and all that. And I was in the airport lounge, and there was a waiter, and this guy there, and he had a glass of champagne, and he was like that. This champagne's too warm. This is ridiculous. And the guy was like, I'm sorry. He goes, sorry is no good. I'm not paying all this money and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
So I said, excuse me. So I interrupted. Nothing to do with me, but, you know, excuse me. I said, can I have a glass of champagne? And he went, yes, sir, yes, sir. And he walked off, and this guy said, do you know anything about champagne? I said, yeah. I said, my mum's French. I was brought up in the Champagne region of France. Well, I wasn't brought up there. It was 6 weeks holidays. We used to spend it in France and, you know, in the various places in Bordeaux, etc. And the man came over with the champagne. He said, well, you can tell me then if it's fine. You know, you tell me. And I looked at it. I have a fucking clue. Idea. And I've never been to Bordeaux. Yeah. I don't even know where the Champagne region of France is. I looked at this glass, had a little sip and went, no, it's perfect. The guy's face just dropped. And as I walked out, I fist bumped the waiter, said, that was for you. No need for it. Because the champagne's warm. Totally. Really, get a proper problem, mate, you know? You're
not worried about the other people who are sitting right at the back of the plane, someone farting next to them. And
exactly.
Someone,
Luxury problems.
Here's something. I need a favour for you. From you. It's not now, maybe in 3 years' time.
Okay.
Please, whatever you do, please try and find a way to get to the England squad and sort this out. Because it needs to come home. I just can't deal with it anymore. And you know what the funny thing is? The media always makes you believe.
Right.
And they have this thing, you can clearly see it.
Yeah.
They get to a certain point and something weird happens.
Yeah.
Up there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then all shit starts happening.
I mean, it's funny you say that because I got a phone call today that Stevenage Football Club want me to be their coach for the team because I've had such success with individual players. It's not a team effort, it's an effort here with yourself. You've got to make sure that you're a team player. You've got to be, they've got hang-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to.
No,
I like a challenge.
You have to make it happen, mate, because
if I can do that, if
I've just had enough now.
Mate, I don't watch it. I don't watch it.
I've had enough. I literally, we were watching the last one, me and the wife and my brother, and I was like, you know what, I have no feelings towards this game anymore. As in this England game, if they go out or not, because I've been so not disappointed, but I've seen the trend, and the media, they make I don't know how they do it, but every time they make you believe it really might just come home.
Well, the thing is, look, you're always going to lose.
Yeah.
Life is about losing. You're going to lose something, whether it's people, you're going to lose people, you're going to lose yourself. But it's like, it's that bit on the way to that losing that's the beautiful part of it. You know what I mean? It's just that sort of exciting belief in that, you know, and you know, white faces and red crosses on it and 3 lions on his shirt and all that sort of stuff. It alleviates what really is life can be. Really
there's too much
arduous.
Pressure. Because like Morocco, they lost yesterday, but they didn't lose.
No, I do think it's pressure. Yeah, because I think there's an idea of because we invented the game, and we've got all the songs about it, and we have the Premiership,
and we have the best World Cup song ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I just think that it's just you just lose. You know, it's this. You know, recently, Darren Till lost, who I know, who I'm going to be working with.
Nice.
In the future from
He's
this.
here a lot training.
Mate, and he got absolutely ruined. You know, when you're just like, all right, it's not banter. That's cruel. Banter is fun. Banter is right in water. But he was cruel, man. They say the things. Liam's had some horrific things said about him. Someone trying to tell him, Liam Harrison had a left hook or low kick. Oh, okay, thanks for that. You know, it's just like this. I don't know. I just think that you lose. And sometimes you can train as hard as you want. You do what you want.
It just happens, yeah.
Shit happens. The kid, the bottle.
Yeah.
Bonk, the lights out, whatever.
Dude, look at Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. Everyone thought that was perfectly fought fight. Yeah. Everything. Last second, one kick in the right place, and it was over.
It's the game. It's very, very, very tragic, the game. But it's the game. If you try and fathom out if, what's, and maybes, if you trained hard enough and you just got caught, you just get caught. It's the game. But you make sure that you don't suffer that, and by doing the best that you possibly can. You can't lie to yourself. If you're trying to succeed, if you lie to yourself, well, you know. So when you don't, you can complain to everybody else, but you got to lie in bed and listen to yourself talk to you. You know.
And that's the thing about fighters anyway. It's like, yeah, they take it very hard and they take it very personally. But it ain't stopping them. They'll be back again for the next one. Do you know what I mean? They've chosen this path, or it's chosen them, and that's it. That's the way it is.
The trouble is, some people aren't fighters. It's an archetype. We believe it because we're men that I'm going to be a fighter and stuff. But it's the dark places they won't go to. And most people won't go to those dark places. That's not everybody that's successful in business and stuff. You don't think they've had their own fights.
Yeah, man, and you got to look at them as well, how some of them won't even see their children for half their lives.
Exactly.
Just to make $1 billion business.
Yeah, and to make sacrifices.
That's a dark place. I couldn't imagine a week without seeing my kids.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's a dark place. Of course it is. Same with the commentary. Like, I've been all over, but I've missed my kids' birthdays. I've missed funeral. I missed my mum's funeral, but I missed my stepdad's funeral. Because of it, because you know, it's arduous, it's tiring, and if you think you're going to get success by just believing in the universe is just going to drop it on your lap, no, because everything's earned. Everything is earned. If you don't believe, if you think, of course there's luck, there's elements of luck. However, if you just think there and draw a picture of this lovely house in Hawaii, and you're just sat there breathing about it and not doing anything about educating yourself or trying to make the money to get that, or not putting the money, even putting the lottery on, how do you expect it to happen?
Yeah, totally agree. Any ideas on what's going to happen tomorrow? Are you allowed to say any?
To the fights? Yeah. Just gonna.
Anyone you're looking forward to specifically watching, or?
No, because I like them all. Remember, I'm 53. They're all kids, and they're just chasing a dream. You know, and it sounds dramatic, and I am a bit dramatic, if I'm honest. But they're chasing a dream. They're chasing a foothold in life. It'll be a great show. It'll be great to have you there.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And I've got nothing but excitement for it. It's still not dwindled. I mean, I've been involved in the sport for 38 years. It's a long time, but
another 100 more, Vinny. Another 100 more,
yeah,
mate.
I feel 100 years old, but it's bitten me.
Don't say that. Remember the words. You got to choose the good ones.
I feel 100 years old, then I might get to another 100.
Exactly.
Then I'll know. Yeah. But thank you for having me,
dude. It's been an absolute pleasure. I
really, really appreciate it. And you know, anyone who spends time with you or gets on this couch, it knows they're in good hands. I've just had a wonderful time. I can't tell everyone kind of what I've just seen out loud. Exactly. It's a secret, but wow, it's so amazing for me. It's like Disneyland.
Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. And the one thing that I find incredible about this kind of stuff is I get to build relationships with some incredible people, which I probably wouldn't have been able to. Our paths might not have crossed otherwise. So I'm really grateful for being able to call you a friend. And you know, often when you meet people whose heart is kind of aimed at the same spot or something like that, you become instant friends, and it's not even, you don't even, like I feel like I've known you for ages now, kind of thing.
Same.
I was so excited to get you on that I booked you a month early. Do you remember?
You rang me up and I was like in the middle of Northwich coming out of my office, and he's like,
I was like, you there tomorrow? What time you on tomorrow? You're like, next month.
I'll have a job. Can I just mention one thing?
No, of course.
We have a new show, Muay Thai show in England called the Hitman Fight League. It's going to be Liam Harrison's show.
Nice.
That's going to be amazing. It's coming out in June. So if you're around in England, you want to come, please come over.
I know for sure.
And it's going to be an absolute scorch. We've got some real big names on it. And yeah, and Infusion Strength to Strength. We've got Take KO coming next year.
Nice.
Which is says what it says what it says. And it's a very, very exciting year for kickboxers and Thai boxers and stuff like that. And especially with the new show Take KO, Infusion's going from strength to strength, but Liam's show.
Nice.
Look, if you don't understand that Liam's the best we've ever had, and putting a show on, can't go wrong, can it?
You heard that right, Jude? Book it, book it. Again, look, I know this is going to be part 1 of many more to come.
Okay.
So next time,
let me hypnotise you.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Let me hypnotise you and let me because you've said what you wanted to change. Obviously, client confidentiality would say, but let's make that happen
100%.
because I am very blessed to be here for you to invite me on. Thank you so
definitely.
much.
The pleasure was all mine, and yeah, I look forward to building the friendship and to keep going from here.
It's comfortable, that chair.
It's lovely, mate. It literally, this chair, I can't see my legs now because these arms have literally closed around and I feel so comfy. But is there any kind of parting messages you want to leave? You can leave it into that camera. And also how they can contact you if somebody wants to work with you.
You can get me on the Shoreman Solution. Follow us on Instagram. You can also get me, Vinny Shoreman, on Instagram as well. And if you want to email me, you can get Karen at theshoremansolution.com. You're more than welcome to book a breakthrough day or a seminar or just work with me personally in business, life, whatever you want to do.
Final words of wisdom?
Final words of wisdom is spend more time at listening to other people's stories instead of telling everyone your own.
I like that. I love that. Guys, I've been AJ. He's been Vinny Shoreman. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon.
Thank you, brother.
Boom.